Let's just start, if that's okay with you.
Oh, yeah. Let's do
I
it.
don't know if they told you before we jump into any podcast. I gotta butter the bread. I'm always good. Whoever want to show up, I love giving them flowers while they right in front of me. So we do this thing called the over the top intro. Let's get it. My next guest is award-winning painter and now filmmaker. He is the pride of San Jose University Film Department. He is best known for his works at the Vesper Project, Behind the Myth of Benevolence, and now exhibiting forgiveness on digital and on-demand platforms. Today, December 3rd, you can catch it right here. Titus Kaphar, welcome to the podcast.
How you doing, brother? How you doing?
Man, I'm doing great. Look, I got a chance to watch this film. Are you sure you're a first time director? Are you sure? Because it
I'm a
doesn't look
first
like.
time director. I'm definitely a first time director. But I had a great team around me, man. That's what it was. You see the lineup. Andre Holland, Andra Day, Anjanou Ellis Taylor, John Earl Jukes, who a lot of people don't know, but after this, they will definitely know. I mean, those folks held me up while we went through this process, man.
Man, this film, in a word, was just plain necessary. It
Oh,
needed to be made because it
love that.
showed so much stuff. Originally, this film was a documentary, correct?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's very much my story. There's certain things that have been changed. Like I said, like you said, I did a documentary and realized there was something about that really was not that satisfying to me. I realized in the process of making the documentary that it was these two adults, me and my father, who are having this conversation. And the problem was that my childhood self never got a chance to say his piece. And so the film, going back to a narrative film structure, allowed me to be able to get into that. So it didn't start even as a documentary. It started as me trying to talk to my sons about my life and where I came from. I grew up in Michigan, and we go back to Michigan to visit my grandmother. And we showed up one day on my grandmother's stoop, and my father was sitting there. I had my wife and kids with me. They had never met him before, and I hadn't seen him in 15 years, and he wanted to talk. And I was like, yeah, no, this is not going to happen. And so I walked into the house thinking I was done with the situation. And he walked in behind me. I started to get upset. And it was at that point that my grandmother said, baby, you need to talk to him. And so, as I always say, I don't know what your relationship with your grandmother is, but when my grandmother tell you to do something, you do
I
it.
do it.
It's not a question. And so I was just like sitting there trying to figure out what I'm gonna do to listen to my grandmother and at the same time get out of the situation. I had a camera on my shoulder because I was about to photograph her for a painting that I was gonna do. So I said to my father, "Hey, if you want to talk to me, then I get to film you. I get to record you because there's a lot that you have to account for." My expectation was he was gonna say no and I was gonna be done with it. He said, "Be at my house in 15 minutes." I was like, "Damn, that did not work the way that I wanted it to." So my children saw that experience with me and my father. And so over the years, they were young at the time, 5 and 7. So over the years, they would just ask me, Dad, what was your relationship with your father? Did y'all do this together? Did you go to games together? Did he come to your wrestling matches? Did he blah 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 blah? I'm like, nope, 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 nope. It just wasn't like that. And so I would always say, I'll tell you more. I'll tell you more when you get older. As I said, my oldest is now going off to college. So he's old enough, so I sat down to just start writing letters to my boys, to both of my sons, and let them know what's up. And when I was done with it, I shared it with a friend, and he was like, "I think you got a little bit more than just some letters. I think you got a structure for a film." And so then I started working with my producers, Derek C. in France, to help me lay it out and put it into a film form. And that's what you got, Exhibiting Forgiveness.
All right, hey, I gotta ask, man, because one thing I loved in this movie, even though it wasn't completely autobiographical, how was it reliving some of that stuff? Because if you use a lot, and I mean a lot of your
Yeah,
real life in that. So
yeah.
how was it reliving that? And then on top of that, you had to show that to the world.
Yeah. Well, there's two pieces there, showing it to the world and there's the reliving it. So let's start with the reliving it. So the truth of the matter is like the way that I was raised is, we grew up in Michigan in an era where nobody in my neighborhood had trash pickup. It was too expensive. So everybody burned their trash in the backyard, which is crazy now, but that's what they did. So me and my father would go around and we would pick up that trash, put it in the back of our pickup truck and take it to the dump, and that's how we made money. We did that and a bunch of handyman other stuff. And so I like grew up with this work ethic. Like, we ain't got time to play. You need to get up and you need to get to work. I don't care about your tears. We need to work, right? And so the truth of the matter is, as I experienced these painful things that we see on screen, I didn't give myself permission to really feel them. I just went through them. So as I'm having conflict, for example, with my father, the scene in the gallery towards the end of the film where they're upstairs and they're going back and forth. That scene didn't happen in the gallery. That scene happened at my studio. My father just showed up to my studio. When it happened, I was just angry. That's the only thing that I was feeling, was just anger. But when I shot that scene, and Andre Holland, my friend, the extraordinary actor who was doing so much more than acting in that moment, that brother was conjuring in that moment. It wasn't play, it was real. I watched him go through what I went through, and it broke me. I don't know how else to explain it. It just broke me. I just started crying on set. I'm not that guy, but I just lost it. I could not stop crying for half an hour. I had to leave the set, lay down in a dark room on the floor till I could stop myself from crying. That is the power of what film can do, the power of what a great actor can
Right.
do. He was able to awaken things in me that I had been suppressing for so long. It was the first time I was actually able to feel that kind of stuff. So it was cathartic and it was healing. Then you get to like Sundance and you show your film, and it's like, 1,500 people in the audience, and you're like, damn, what was I thinking? Oh my God. Like, oh man, this is like all my stuff. I just like put it all out there. Okay, we about to see. But the thing that has been beautiful, man, is that every single time we show this film publicly, people from all walks of life come up to me after and go, that's my pops too. That's my mother too. I saw myself reflected in there too. And that is the part that makes you feel less alone. We feel connected. We feel human. So at the beginning, I was nervous about it. It made me feel very vulnerable. But at this point, I feel like I'm finding my community. I'm finding a community
Right.
of people who have been through some stuff and want to stop hiding, want to be able to talk about those things for their own healing. And this film is a platform to be able to do that.
Now, I'm getting up against it on time, but I got one last question, and I want to word this in a way where I don't exactly give away the movie. I love it because
Okay.
you're breaking generational trauma, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at the tippy top start of this film, you had a little help and some advice from Steven Spielberg about even making this thing, which is
Yeah.
interesting that you say you just felt that because he just made a movie about his family
That's right.
and he
That's
just
right.
went through pretty much everything you're going through. Can you tell me a
Yep.
little bit about that?
So Steven Spielberg, I met him through Kate Capshaw, his wife, who is an extraordinary painter. Kate is a friend, and Kate came to visit my studio just to see the paintings I was working on. She got into the studio and she saw all of the work that I was making for the film. She said, "What's this?" I told her. She said, "That sounds interesting." I picked up a script, I handed it to her. I said, "Yeah, take a look." I know what she was going to do with it. And about 24 hours later, she called me and was like, "You really got something special here. Do you mind if I share it with Steven Spielberg, my husband?" And I was like, "Nah, nah, please don't do that. That's crazy." No, I was like, "Of course, yeah,
Yeah.
do that." And so she shared it with Steven, and Steven read it in a couple of days and got back to me. And it's still crazy for me to pick up my phone and see Steven Spielberg across there. It's still like, I can't believe that. It's still kind of wild. But he did. He told me that I've just been through this. Hollywood doesn't really know how to deal with these kinds of films. You got to protect yourself in this process. But the most important thing he said to me is he said, "I just need you to know this is gonna hurt. You're probably gonna cry a lot, and it's not gonna fix everything. It's not going to fix everything. So if you're going through this process thinking that at the end of it, the whole situation with family would just all magically fixed up, you need to let go of that. And he was right. The film made space for me to continue the healing process,
Yeah,
but it did
honestly,
not do it on its own.
yeah, honestly, that's what this film is all about. Man, I wish I had more time because I want to break this thing down. I thank you for the time I got, but this has been dope. Titus, you are more than welcome to come back to this podcast. You can chop it up whenever you want, man. This has been dope.
Appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right, have a great one.
All right, talk to you soon.
All right, bye.